You're gonna make accusations. I'm gonna explain. Is what happened to Moist Critical. Welcome back, buddies, to another episode of Mirror Mirror on the Wall. Whom says the wackiest of them all? Today we're gonna be talking about Moist Critical yet again. I said that shit like I was mad disappointed. Once again, there is no synopsis of the mission before we get into the rundown. I'm almost positive we do not need to know who these two are. And if you don't know, it doesn't matter anyways. On the last installment, we talked about Moist Boy and how he got into some controversy, into a debate as well with Sneeko. I'm sure y'all are wondering why they were even debating in the first place. This all spawned from the Chris Tyson situation. I'm not sure why we were even focused on debating something when this was going on, but whatever, I'll just roll with it. Sneeko said some stupid shit and decided to point the finger at Charlie and start making weird claims. Charlie answered with another spitball to Sneeko's face, just like everybody else does to him, because he's just a laughing stock at this point. Sneeko is the equivalent to the bonus stage like in Street Fighter where you just beat the shit out of a car. Deadass just something to have fun with and get a high score on and then leave and never remember again. Sneeko being a joke aside, though, they were having a debate like I was saying. I know some of y'all are wondering what the fuck does that have to do with literally anything, but I'm getting to it. Damn, give me a second, fuckface. But in this debate, two sides were claiming that both of their beliefs were the right of way and the other one was wrong, is essentially what it boiled down to. Sneeko's argument was that you should be able to marry minors if you're an adult for whatever reason, if both parties consent. I don't even know how that's possible when you can't consent when you're a child, but whatever. And Moist Critical's point was that kids should be able to transition before the age of consent, which I also don't agree with. Me personally, I don't think any minor should be doing anything before the age of, like I said in my last video, 18 or 21. I mean, in reality, I really do think it should just be 21, but for some reason, certain things can be allowed at 18 in certain regions. I don't know why. Like, realistically, I don't even think 16-year-olds should be driving. I just personally don't think minors should be doing anything life-changing before, like I said, they even become adults. Nevertheless, those are literally just my beliefs, though, so you don't have to believe them. I'm not sitting here forcing you to believe what I want. Like, come on, man, you should believe what I believe. It's better, dude. But to get back on track, Moist Critical did catch some shots for this because, I mean, his statement was kind of hypocritical. Like, one thing you can do that's life-changing is allowed, but the other thing you can't do just because, like, no. Obviously, that's not the only reason. One is just not right, literally under any circumstances at all, no matter what age you are. So he did catch some flack for that because, I mean, it did just make him look like he was a bit of a hypocrite, which I do agree. Now, I do want to say that the video I made, what, like 2 days ago now, maybe 3, I think at this point, doesn't matter, but that video was made, I want to say like 2, 3, maybe even 4 hours before Moist Critical dropped his video explaining like literally everything that happened. So I guess in a way you could say that Moist Critical tried to fuck me. But yeah, in the video he covers shit like the Sneeko drama, him leaving the podcast, and just other shit. And that's pretty much what we're gonna get into today.
It turns out the patient zero behind all of this was a post Jackson made announcing that I would be leaving the podcasts, which is something I thought about periodically for quite a few months now, mainly because I started to recognize that I was becoming the very thing I'd make fun of with being chronically online. Like, I just was always online, and the podcasts were a big proponent of that, and I just kind of wanted to scale back the amount of time I spend online, and I kept Jackson in the loop the whole time here about where my head was at, and last week I told him, hey man, I think this is going to be where I hang up the jersey, you can put it in the rafters, throw it in the dumpster, but I think I'm just going to be, sailing off into the sunset here and just reducing the amount of stuff I do online. I'm not retiring, despite what the experts are telling you. All I did was walk away from a couple of projects. That's really it. Like, that's a pretty normal thing to do, especially when one of them I've been doing for like 8 years. I really didn't think it was that deep, especially not deep enough for how big of a story it's become with all of the wild narratives running around about the true reason that I stopped doing it.
So right away, he explains the fact that he didn't know he was apparently quitting the internet. And I didn't know that the internet took it that way. I'm not sure why they would. I'm much confused, just like Charles over here. Like, the announcement specifically said the podcast. I'm not sure why people decided to hear what they heard and then spin into some weird shit. And he also did give a reason as to why he wanted to leave the podcast, like an actual in-depth one, which is what I was talking about again in my last video on the topic. Basically, he's just saying that he's tired of seeing bad shit on the internet, and the podcast is basically a big fucking contributor to that, which I don't mean to sound like a genuine broken record. I said this in my last video. Maybe the fucking podcast was contributing like a large fucking portion to this. After that, he talks about the wacky fucking discussion he had with Sneeko.
But from that spawned a conversation where I talked to Sneeko directly, because he was very upset that I was talking about how him rallying against the age of consent is pedophile arguments, like defending pedophilia. As I've said since the very beginning of this channel, I'm always willing to engage with people I disagree with, and I thought that maybe there was a chance I misunderstood what he was trying to say, even though it's still abhorrent. I thought, okay, maybe he's not actually trying to defend pedophilia. He's like some kind of pseudo-intellectual debate bro who's trying to say something else. So I was willing to hear him out on it, and I talked to him in DMs, and he said he doesn't believe in the age of consent. He believes in the age of marriage, can't assign a number to it, but said that when someone can legally drive, they should be able to marry at the same time, which is literally like a 15 or 16-year-old, because you get your permit at 15, your license at 16, and both are way too young to be marrying. That shit is completely unacceptable. It is downright disgusting. He then said that he was happy to discuss it in a call, which I said I was willing to hear him out on, and he said that he would do it later because he was outside doing an IRL stream in Turkey.
He talks about how he got a bunch of hate from Sneeko for seemingly no reason, and they end up chatting in DMs and shit, and they wanted to have a discussion, and that's where the debate took place. Now, an important piece of information that we learned from this video is that Charlie wasn't even expecting a debate, because, I mean, why the fuck would he? You see in the DMs that Sneeko even says, oh, we can just discuss this after I'm done with my IRL live streaming. So yeah, I don't think I'd be expecting to be a debate bro for like an hour and a half, 2 hours either, if I'm being honest. Charlie also makes a good point when he says debating is basically fucking useless. Saying you're a max level debater is like saying you're a max level World of Warcraft player. You're just a fucking loser. Like, debating is literally just arguing, but without the anger. Just two people trying to prove that their side is right and that the other person is wrong and deserves to get blown up with a fucking RPG. Like, if you genuinely want to have a conversation with somebody, just do that instead. Have a normal conversation.
And then he started arguing about, well, what is a child? We must define a child, you know. It's not actually being under 18. It's all a bunch of hooey. And I really think if you have to start arguing about, well, what technically is a child, you're already way too far gone. Like, that is so fucking weird. And
this is an amazing point. I think genuinely, like Charlie said, if you have to ask yourself, what is a child, then you might as well just put the handcuffs on and fucking slam yourself in the jail. And to talk about that, even though I really shouldn't even fucking have to, no, a 14-year-old or a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old or whatever the fuck before 18 can consent. I'm not really sure why Sneeko has a hard time processing this. He thinks the only saving grace for this is puberty, which it's not.
The big one, and this is what most people have focused on, which was my response to his question about kids transitioning. And the way he would pose that question would be by asking if I thought it was okay if kids who want to switch their gender go to the doctor and get their dick cut off. Is it okay if a 9-year-old goes to a doctor and gets their cock cut off right then and there? And when posed with that question, I replied with yes. And I've talked about this on stream many times now, and I'll talk about it again here. I thought he was talking in hyperbole. I thought he was just exaggerating, being over the top, talking about the entire subject of transitioning. I had no idea that any living, breathing human being actually thought that that's how transitioning works, where you just go into a doctor saying, I feel like switching genders, and they lay you down on the operating table and just snip your whole fucking meat off.
This is the part I really don't understand about Charlie's like defense for saying yes, a child should be able to transition, like with surgery and everything. Well, how do you think that Sneeko is talking in the hyperbole? I just don't get this part. And even if he was, you guys were on the topic of transitioning for a pretty long time, like long enough to where you would know like what Sneeko's trying to say.
I've talked about this a couple times throughout the years on stream. I have no complaints if a kid gets interested in transitioning and starts talking to their family about it. So their parents start talking to doctors, the kid starts talking to doctors and therapists and all of this, because the process of transitioning is one that takes place over the course of many years. It's not something that just happens like that.
And here's really the answer that I personally wanted. And the answer doesn't even fucking make sense in my opinion, because talking about transitioning is not transitioning. I don't know. I'm no fucking doctor ever or anything. Maybe it is, but I didn't think that that was considered a stage. And even then, I still don't think that little ass kids should be doing that. Just wait a couple more years, get mature, get developed a little bit more at the very least, and then go do that. He also addresses the fact that he's just shit at debating because it's just not in him. And honestly, I don't fucking blame him either. Who wants to sit there and debate things all day like some fucking loser? He also explains that that's the reason why he sucked ass at this debate, which he didn't even know was going to be a debate. And from the DMs and everything, I could see why he didn't think it was going to be a debate, because Nico said discussion. He also never said it was going to be live, which it was. So that was my fault in the credits. That was actually, I guess, Nico's clip or VOD or whatever. After that, he pretty much just wraps it up talking about some thoughts and feelings, and that's pretty much that. And that pretty much wraps up this episode of Mirror Mirror on the Wall, whomst is the wackiest of them all. Congratulations, Blazers, you made it all the way to the end of the video. I seen you laughing while you was eating your miso soup. Can I have some soup? No? Okay. Anyway, since I seen you laughing, you might as well sub to the channel, make that big red button a big gray button. Stay tuned in to see what happens next. Bye bye. Time to go play some Deep Rock Galactic. Welcome back. Alert. Welcome back. Alert. Hey, welcome back to the special outro. I hope you enjoyed the video. I assume you did. Just make sure the special outro. If you like the video, leave a like. If you dislike the video, don't ever dislike the video ever. And yeah, if you want more of me, more wacky, go to my Twitch. That's twitch.tv/JoshVHS. Any day now, those collabs and vlogs will go out. I say vlogs and collabs like there's more than one. There's only one. Don't expect more than one, because there's not. Other than that, thank you for your time. And Blazers, remember to let it rip. You're gonna cue, I'm gonna dance.